and welcome to Liverpool City Region Creating Careers. Today's video forms part of a special series of Creating Careers focusing on various roles within Keepmoat Homes. Today we've got Ben Stone, Head of Sustainability, joining us. Hi Ben, thanks for coming.
Hi. No,
Brilliant. So students, before you begin today's video, make sure you've completed the pre-work that matches this series. There is one piece of pre-work for you to complete, and then you can watch all the short videos about the different roles within Keepmoat. If you need the link for that pre-work, go to the description below and there you'll find everything that you need. Okay, so Ben, could you start with an overview of your role, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you just said, I'm head of sustainability. That means that I kind of look after everything environment and social value across Keepmoat, whether it's something like climate change and carbon reduction, or thinking about wildlife and biodiversity and how we support that on our sites, or all the way through to supporting our supply chain team and making sure there's no modern slavery and we're buying sustainable timber, or getting apprentices onto our sites and with work placements and all those sorts of good things. Alongside that, I'm also a trustee for the Sheffield and Rotherham Wildlife Trust. So in my spare time, I kind of focus on that as well and look after wildlife a little bit too.
Amazing. That's interesting. So just on that topic of wildlife, so I'm assuming that your role then is, if you're building on site, do you have to check you're not disturbing natural habitats for animals?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we contract an ecologist to work with us before we start on site. They come and look over the site, do a walkover, look at what species have been seen there from records in the past, and do some testing on site. So we understand, if we've got badgers or if we've got newts or other protected species or nesting birds, how we protect them and how we avoid harming them. We're also working towards a piece of legislation that comes out in 2023 called Biodiversity Net Gain. So we'll have to leave all of our sites 10% better for nature from 2023 onwards. So we're just working out how we enhance them for ecology and make it even better.
Brilliant. And just focusing on another element that you mentioned was quite interesting when you were saying about making sure the materials and things that you're buying are from ethical sources.
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously spend a lot of money. We build 4,000 homes a year, so we use loads of different materials, and we work with lots of different subcontractors on site. So we want to make sure that they're all working to our standards, making sure that when they come and work on one of our construction sites, they're not employing anybody or forced labour or any modern slavery in their supply chains, making sure that they're giving everybody the support that they need and making sure their well-being is looked after. But then also in the materials we buy, we don't want to be cutting down rainforests or using any timber that's not sourced sustainably. So we do checks across our supply chain to make sure that's all up to scratch as well.
That's brilliant. And I suppose even students watching it, watching this recording, could take some of that on board. We as individuals, we should take responsibility really on the things that we're buying, making sure they're coming from responsible sources and not promoting things like modern slavery.
And if everybody does a little bit, it all adds up. So making a small change is definitely worth it.
Yeah, brilliant. So what skills would you say are most essential to your job?
One of the biggest things I think is being able to talk to people and being able to sort of collaborate with them. So sustainability, it's massive, touches every part of our business, building low carbon homes or looking after wildlife like we talked about, or helping people to get a job and come and learn about construction skills. So I can't do it all. There's a team of 3 of us that are environmentalists at Keepmoat, and we employ 1,000 people. So we really need everybody in the business to be pushing and making our business more sustainable. So it's all about getting on board with them, helping them to understand what they can do, because everybody wants to protect the environment, everybody wants to have a better society, but they don't necessarily always know how to do it. So it's about talking to them, helping them to understand that you can make a small change and it can make a big difference, and then giving them some of the skills to sort of push forward. One of the other things I suppose is really sustainability. You might not think it, but it's quite data heavy. So if you think about carbon footprinting, how many tons of carbon has the business emitted? How many tons of carbon are in each brick that we use in our homes? How do you convert diesel that we're using in our vehicles into carbon? So there's a lot of stuff around maths and science and those sort of understandings as well that's needed to sort of get on with it.
Yeah, amazing, brilliant. So I mentioned to you before we started this recording that I am a little bit nosy. So I'm interested in what you did at work. So What did you do with your last day? And so this will be Friday now.
So Friday, so we were talking about biodiversity. We're just about to start work on a really interesting site, which it has a river running along the bottom of it, and about a third of the site is subject to flooding. So we're not going to be building on that area because we don't want anybody's home to flood. So we're going to be leaving it, for nature and for sort of open space for people to enjoy. It's already got some wet woodland that covers it, so sort of where it's a bit boggy, but there's trees growing up through it. So we're going to be doing some enhancement on that area to create a better area for wildlife, and to try and create some space that people can enjoy and go and walk through as well. So we were talking about how we enhance that wet woodland. Could we build plant some reed beds and some wildflower meadows around there, so that great for nature, helps us to support nesting birds and insects and invertebrates, but also helps people to come and enjoy that space and sort of connect with nature as well. The new people are going to live on that estate, so that was really, really good. And then we're at the moment, we're just calculating our carbon footprint. So we've been trialing battery storage alongside the generators that we use on site. So before we get a electricity connection to some of our sites, we use a generator for electricity, and we've been trialing battery storage alongside it, and that's been really successful. So using some of the math stuff, we've cut the amount of fuel that generator is used on that site by 90%. So it's gone from 3,000 litres a month down to 50. So, huge savings, great in terms of money for the business, but also great in terms of carbon emissions and air pollution and noise and disturbance to local communities as well. So, quite good stuff.
Yeah, amazing stuff. So when did you realize that this is what you wanted to do with your career?
So I grew up in the countryside, so I always felt quite connected to wildlife and the countryside, and being involved in the environment. And then I decided that because of that, I was going to do environmental management at university, which was good. So sort of that 16, 18 age, and I've kind of just stayed in that sector all the way through. I've kind of moved through different jobs that are focused on the environment bit of sustainability, and I've worked in social housing, so helping people to live a more socially valuable life as well, helping people to get on the housing ladder, those sort of things. So I really like working at Keepmoat because it gives that mix across the two aspects. So helping people with apprenticeships and learning how they can come and join the construction sector and get a job, but also helping to address our carbon footprint and make sure we're not polluting, all that sort of stuff.
So you're one of the lucky ones who knew quite early what you wanted to do.
Well, yeah, I thought it sounded quite good. I didn't know that was what I wanted to do when I went to university, but yeah, I thought I think everybody goes with what sounds like it could be quite an interest. You just have to go with what you think is interesting, don't you? And
of course,
hopefully it turns out. And if it doesn't, then so be it. There's plenty of opportunities to go and use your skills all over the place and try something different.
Perfect, brilliant. So if students watching this and they feel like they would like to get into this line of work, what would you recommend that they do to develop themselves?
Some volunteering. I think that is, so the thing that I found when I came out of university and talking to people that have worked for me and have come out of university is that you get a great loads of skills when you're at school or college or university, but it's quite academic. And getting some hands-on experience of how it really works is really valuable. So if you can volunteer with a business or with the wildlife trusts, so at your local wildlife trust, there's got loads of volunteering opportunities. Go and get involved with nature, show that you've done something, be able to talk about it to an employer when you're applying for a job, to show that you understand how the real world works and how work works, place works.
Brilliant. Amazing. So lastly, I'm going to take you back in time a little bit, and I want you to think about your time in school and think about what skills or knowledge did you learn that you feel you still use today?
So I suppose, like I said before, one of the most important things is that communicating with people and being able to collaborate with them and build relationships. So some of that stuff around English and your sort of language skills and being able to present to people or get your ideas across and make sure that they understand is really important. And then sort of the maths and science stuff, so carbon footprinting or thinking about how you can get more recycled materials into the houses that Keepmoat build, all that sort of stuff is really important as well. So maths, English, science, those sort of core subjects are really important, I think. And then you can kind of build off them as a base.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it. And I found it quite fascinating. So I'm sure that our students will too. So Students, if you've got any questions about anything at all that Ben shared with us today, or anything in general about the Keepmoat Home series, send them into careershub@growthplatform.org and we will get them answered for you. And do not forget to complete the Creating Careers Roadmap, the Keepmoat Homes edition, after you've watched this video. That'll give you the opportunity to evaluate your interests in all the different job roles that have been on offer in this series. So thank you for joining, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Creating Careers.